people. Today we're doing a set I'm calling Pride Rainbow. Now this is not my original design. This is a set done. There's the original set I was looking at, done by Nail Champion. I saw these on Instagram and really loved them, so I decided to try to recreate, sort of. Not going to be exactly the same, but okay, starting off, we're going to be using this red mud gel as my base for my red. Now this wasn't a hard set to do, but there's a lot of steps to it and a lot of products, so it might get a little confusing. I'm also working on both hands at the same time, so I had to remember to start and stop my recordings a bunch of times. So there will be some issues with that. Now on this finger I decided to combine the orange and the yellow colors together. Normally when I've been doing a rainbow set where I have a different color on each finger, I've been combining my purple and blue on my thumb because it's bigger. But this time I didn't feel like doing that, so I wanted to combine. So I decided to combine the orange and the yellow. So my base color is this yellowy orange for that nail. Then we'll be moving through the rest of the rainbow colors on the other ones, one each per nail. Okay, moving on. This is the green, and as you've already noticed, we have a real mixed bag of polishes again for this set. I think the most of them are Beetles, but there are other ones here and there. Now we're only going to be doing one coat of these base colors because we're going to be chroming over all of them. And really 2 coats is kind of unnecessary for what we're doing today. And moving on to the next one, which is blue. As I said, I was doing both hands at the same time, so like you see me paint the one finger of the color, then I cut off my feed or my camera, then I painted that same color on the other hand, so I'm basically curing them as I go too. So like you won't see it, but I will be painting blue on my other index finger, then curing both of those at the same time, then I'm moving on to the next one. I did it that way because once I didn't want to have to open all these colors and go back and forth. And on the thumb we're having purple. And the colors that I'm using as these base colors also are going to be the medium range color for that group of colors that goes on the nail. You'll see what I mean as we go. There's a light, medium, and dark of each color on the nail that's embossed, and this is the medium of all those colors. Okay, moving on. We're ready for chroming. Now, I'm going to start off showing you the top coat on the pinky nail, but on the rest of them you're not going to see me doing top coat. I'm using a no wipe top coat and I'm curing only for 30 seconds. That seems to be giving me the best what's the word? This is the red chrome I'm using. That's been cured, as I said. The best coverage, the best for it to stick on there, because I was having issues with that. Now I started off using this little brush thing to get the chrome on there, but frankly it's using too much chrome and I've got a big wastage of stuff on my paper towel there already. Okay, and there's the red. Now I will do the red on my other finger. You're just not going to see it because I didn't want to have a bunch of different colors of chrome powder opened all at the same time either, because that's a recipe for disaster for me. You can tell already by the mess that I've got, and I'm only on the second one. Now I forgot to hit record when I did the yellow and orange one on the other hand, so you're going to have to watch me do it on with my offhand here. But I put gold on the yellow part where the yellow should be, and then we're doing orange on the other half, and it's basically going to be like a vertical ombre. See, I've got a lot of wastage of my chrome powder because that brush picks up a lot and I didn't need that much. I think after this I started just using my bare finger to do it, which I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place, but here we are. I was also leery of getting the wrong colored chrome powder on the fingers it wasn't supposed to be on while I was doing this too. But at least I didn't have that issue. I did have other issues, but that wasn't one of them. So there we have the yellow and orange. They're kind of similar, so you really can't tell the difference that well unless you look at one side only and then the other side. Okay, moving on to the green one. Now these chrome powders that come in those flat black pots, they're kind of look like flying saucers. They don't have a brand name, but I've gotten several of these now, and they are really nice chrome powders. They're inexpensive, but they work really well. So I can't tell you brand-wise what they are, but they came from Alley, where most of my stuff comes from. That one needed a little bit more. Okay, there we have the green one. Oh, I guess I decided we needed a little more on that part. And moving on, no, yes, no. There's the green one. Moving on to blue. Now this Winida chrome powders, these came from Amazon. These are really, really good. I like these a lot. I got a set of, I think, either 6 or 8 of these, and I've used these quite a lot. Now this particular blue one is a hollow. I didn't really want hollow, but this is the one that had the best color blue that I needed for this. And lastly, the purple. Now this is not chrome powder. These are chameleon flakes, which I did not realize when I pulled these out to use. Now see that? My finger's sweaty. It's stuck to the edge of the pot, and I have a huge pile that you can't see of chrome flakes all over my mat up there now. But the chameleon flakes, you can just pat them on there and then burnish them in. They work basically the same as the chrome powder. Frankly, I find them to be a lot messier than the chrome powder. Now I did put 2 coats on this because I didn't get them spread out enough as I first put them on there. So I am going to do another layer of top coat over this, cure it, and then we're going to do a second coat of these chameleon flakes. Now I don't know if I don't remember if I showed that or if I cut that out of the edit or not. I guess we're going to see here in a second. There's the mess. Okay, this is me just putting on the second layer of the chrome flakes. That I didn't show you the top coat part of it. Okay, there's the mess on my desk of all the spillage of those, and here we are so far with these. Okay, chrome is all on there. Now we're going to put a top coat on. I'm using my tempered top coat. We're going to give this a layer of the top to protect the chrome. Frankly, this is the final top coat because the rest of it's going to be embossed, so there won't be no more top coat after this. But once I get this on and get it cured, then I will go wash my hands and clean myself up, so I don't look like, I don't know, I don't even know what, crazy person with all these colors all over me. And making sure nothing was splitting. And into cure. Okay, now I've cleaned myself up. We're back. Now we're going to move on. That's the medium red. You've already seen me use that, but we're going to need that again. And on the palette, we're going to put the dark and the light red. I guess I could have used a pink for the light. but I just chose a light red instead. And that is it. And the dark red, as I said, a mixed bag of polishes. There's the dark one and the light one, and then we have the medium one. There it is. There's our red palette. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to paint like, well, I hesitate to say stripes because they're not really stripes, but they're striped bits. Like some of them are going to be curvy, some of them might be straight. I'm just kind of winging it here. Now I had a hard time seeing what I was doing with this because some of the reds were just kind of similar to the chrome color, and it was hard to see. Now you're going to see the red chrome change on this one by the time we get to the end, because when I was doing the embossing, I originally had some fine iridescent glitter that I was going to use, and I tried it on this nail, and the glitters were too big, and it just made a mess of it. It like completely covered over where the in-between parts were, where you can see chrome, or where you should still see chrome. So I had to literally strip this nail all the way back down to bare and start over with the polishing and then the chrome and whatnot. Well, I didn't feel like getting that mud gel polish out and re-dirtying my gel brush to put it on. So I just went with the darkest red as my base for the chrome the second time I did it, because it was easier. So if you look at the finished ones, it's not a huge difference. I mean, I can look at them and tell that one chrome is totally darker than the other. Although, frankly, it doesn't make that big of a difference that you're going to notice unless I point it out. So, in case you did notice that in the finished picture, that's why it looks like that. But we're just going to go along and paint in our little stripy bits of, I don't want to say swirly because they're not swirls, they're not totally stripes either, but I mean, you get the gist of what we're doing. This red one was really hard to see because, as I said, the color was very similar to the chrome. So anyways, what I did end up using instead of the fine iridescent glitter is I switched to the embossing powder that I have, which basically is an ultra-fine glitter that's iridescent also. So that's what I'm going to end up using. You'll see the embossing powder jar very briefly. I think I showed it at one point here. Coming up, I think. Or not, we still have the lightest red to get through. And obviously, got to clean the brush in between each color change. Now on these, when I was doing these, what I did was I got all my colors on here as I'm doing, and then I put the embossing powder on, and then I cured, which will be a 2-minute cure. So I did that each nail one at a time because I was just afraid if I tried to do them all, paint, then put the powder on, then cure them at once, I was afraid I was going to end up bumping stuff and ruining things. And that irritates me when that happens, so I was trying to avoid that. Now this one, I got a little bit close together with some of my polishes because frankly I couldn't see where they were. So some of these got a little close together and they kind of started to run together a little bit. Okay, here's the embossing powder. Now this came from Michael's. That's where that came from. And I've sprinkled it on, cured it, and now we're brushing it off. And there's what we have. Well, that's not a very good shot of the red one. Okay, there we go. There's where we have now. Now we're going to do the same thing on all the other colored nails with just switching out the polishes. Okay, now the yellow and the orange. This will be the yellow I picked out. Now my lines, when I was painting on all these colors, kind of got to be, they're all kind of uniform in size, and you know, I didn't vary my pattern of them all that much like she did on hers. I really liked the way hers came out, but she had lines of varying thicknesses and some curvy like half circle bits in there and stuff, which I think really made them look a lot nicer, and I didn't do that on mine. And here's the orange. And we're ready to go. There's our yellow orange palette. We're ready to go with these. Now the way this orange yellow one came out, this is one of my favorite ones. This one and the blue one are my two favorite ones out of this whole set. Now I wanted to get these on here thick enough so I have a nice bit of color, but I also didn't want to get them on so thick that they were going to wrinkle as they cured. I did get one spot on one of the green ones that tried to wrinkle a little bit, but it's not that noticeable. Hey, while we have a second here, next week I'll be finishing up my Pokemon set, and we will be dealing with Jigglypuff, Igglytuff, or Igglypuff, whatever, I forget what his name is. There's a baby one that comes before Jigglypuff, which I forgot about, which I'm now going to put on there, and also Wigglytuff, which is the second evolution. Actually, it's the third if you count the baby. But anyway, that's next week. Okay, now these guys down here, I got a little too close together and they kind of started to run together. So you're going to see me try to clean out in between where the chrome is, which is just going to make a worse mess. So part of this one gets wiped off and I have to redo. Okay, now you can see the darkest stripe towards the middle there and that light yellow are running together. So this was me trying to clean that out of the center of there. Now I've got yellow in the dark, and they're still kind of running together in there. I think what happened too is, since I'm using alcohol to try and clean that off, that's causing the edge of the lines to like fuzz out and want to spread because of the alcohol. Basically like a blooming gel kind of, and I don't want that. At some point here in a second, I'm going to realize this isn't working very well, and I'm going to just wipe off some of it. Now there's a hair stuck on there too. Yeah, I tried to fix this, and the alcohol is just causing it to spread still. And it's just the yellow starting to spread back into it again. So I think at this point is when I decided, all right, that's it. I'm going to wipe it off and start over. And here we go. Now this is just alcohol on the wipe. And now we just have to put that stuff back that we just wiped off. And this time we will not get them so close together. Also, there's a bubble in that one part. You can't see it. Once the embossing powder gets on there, you can't see that bubble. What the heck? Now I've spread my lines out much farther on there now. Okay, I think we're ready to do the embossing, or not, maybe not. And here we go with the powder. You want to be careful you don't bump it against the edge of what you're doing. And it will cause the lines to flatten out and spread just slightly. So that's another reason you want to be careful you don't get them too close together. But as I said, I'm going to cure that, and that's going to be a 2-minute cure. Moving on to the next one, we're doing the greens. And I'm showing them like this because I had already got them on my palette, and I realized I forgot to show you the bottles. So there they are. That's the greens we're using. Also, you're watching me do my offhand because I forgot to hit record on the good hand when I was doing that one. All this stopping and starting with the record is how I get myself into trouble, because then I think it's still on and I forget to do it. And that's how I end up forgetting to hit record on stuff sometimes. I've tried just leaving it on in one big long session while I'm doing stuff, and then just clear it out, things out with the edit, but I have found that that doesn't work so good for me either. Then I end up with a massively long video in my phone that doesn't want to end up transferring out. It becomes a pain to get it out of there. So that's why I do it in little segments. It's just easier to work with. This one is going excruciatingly slow because I'm painting with my offhand now. Excuse me. Also, if there's any defects or things on the chrome that is not nice and smooth, that's where I'm choosing to paint my lines and stuff over that area, so that will cover those up. That's why I wasn't worrying as badly with my chrome being perfect on these. I mean, it's clean enough for where it needs, what you're going to see of it. Like, see at the bottom of this now, you can see some little dots of, I don't know what, maybe it was dust, I don't know what it is on there, but they're getting covered up, so you will never know they were there. I didn't have enough room to do a full stripe in there, but I wanted a little bit more of the lightest green over there. So that's what we did, and we're going to emboss it. Appropriately using embossing powder for the embossing. So you can see the iridescentness of this embossing powder. I mean, it doesn't show up a whole lot on the nails when it's done. Every now and then I'll catch a little bit of the light on it, and you'll see the kind of sparkly purple bits that are in there. Moving on now, we're doing the blues. Boy, I got a frog in my throat today. And the blues really have a mixed bag of polishes. I have 3 different brands for this. Okay, and we're going to go on with the blue. You can see my desk is starting to get to be a disaster. Now, at one point in here, it might have been right before this because I'm seeing an awful lot of that iridescent glitter on my mat. I had taken my phone out of the holder to look back and see if I had recorded a certain thing. And when I was trying to put it back in the holder, it slipped out of my hand and fell on the desk and hit the corner of that little triangular tray that I was collecting up the spillage of the glitter in. And that tray flipped up and I had a cloud of glitter and glitter all over my desk. I mean, glitter was pretty much everywhere. And being that it's hot and I was already sweaty, apparently I had a mustache of sweat because when I came out of here, I had a glitter mustache because it all stuck to where my lip was sweaty, which I wouldn't have noticed, but my son pointed that out. It was better than the alternative of usually having a hairy mustache if I haven't tweezed in a while. Just another one of the joys of menopause. I can now grow a mustache. My husband hates that. He hates it. Like, don't say you have a mustache. Anyway, it's a whole running joke we have going. But working on these, as I said at the beginning, this blue one turned out to be my favorite one out of the whole set. And the yellow-orange one that we did a while ago, that one, I like that one a lot too. You can see too, the purple nail, my thumbnail, it's a chameleon powder, or flakes, I mean, so you can see it's got a little bit of kind of a goldy color to it as it moves. It looks kind of brown, gold-ish, but it's part of that purple. The only other purple chrome I had was a real light one, and I didn't want to use a real light one on there, so that's why I used those. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty big swath of glitter there, so... And there's the culprit that got knocked over. Towards the end of here, I'm going to give you guys a shot of my desk, so you'll see the aftermath of the mess from this set. And in for curing. In we go. And moving on to the purples. Those are the three purples. I think I forgot to hit record, so I think you're going to be watching my offhand again. There are the color numbers. Oh, no, it's not my offhand. Oh, I guess I got started on it and realized I didn't show you guys the polished colors, so there we are. Now this is, I believe this is the medium purple that I started with as my base color. Now you would think my favorite now would be the purple one, as purple's my favorite color, but I just wasn't digging that base color very much. I don't like that it has kind of that reddish, brownish look to it. I guess I need to look for a chrome powder that's a good purple that I like. I've been collecting up these chrome powders for several years now, so they've all come from different places for the most part. There's a couple of sets of stuff that I've bought where I've gotten, 8 or 10 of one brand all at once. Some of them that I've gotten like that, though, they don't really have a brand name. They just come in a set with several colors, and so I can't really, I don't know what to tell you guys for how to find them. But if you go on Alley and look for chrome powders, you're going to find tons of them there. Most of them you're going to need to buy individually, and they're not that expensive. They're only a couple bucks a piece, and frankly, one pot of that lasts for forever. I mean, you don't need very much at once. But And if I'm looking for specific colors, or I see some color that I don't have that I want to get, then I'll buy the individual ones. But I had bought, as I said, a couple of different sets. Now the sets I usually find on Amazon. You don't see those that often in alley stuff. And we should be about ready for, yep, embossing powder again. And this will be the last one, and then we'll be done. As soon as we give this a cure. Okay, in we go. There's the aftermath on my desk of the mess from this set. Now mind you, most of the chrome powder got cleared off in the paper towel, so all those chrome flakes are what blew off of there. And here we go. That's what we've ended up with. I'm calling this Pride Rainbow. I hope you like it. I think they turned out kind of cool. If you do like it, please give me a like. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more, I upload a new tutorial every Saturday. And as I said, next week we're finishing the Pokemon set. So there's my final picture. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.